Ties between Russia and one of its staunchest allies, India, are looking stronger than ever. The two nations are in talks for a free trade agreement. Now, that announcement made by Russia's Deputy Prime Minister, who is in New Delhi for a two-day visit. Mr. Denis Manturov, who's also Russia's Minister for Trade and Industry, says that the trade treaty would guarantee investments between both countries. India's foreign minister confirms discussions, adding that they are already in an advance agreement. The talks are believed to have included ways for India to increase its exports to Russia amid a growing bilateral trade deficit. Moscow is New Delhi's largest supplier of crude oil and military equipment. For more, Ishan Garg joins us live. He is in New Delhi. Ishan, what do we know about this trade deal so far?
Well, this trade deals was proposed a long time ago and has been in the works for quite some time, but it was delayed time and again by the pandemic and possibly because of Russia's war in Ukraine as well. But now these two countries are looking to get a start on it. Now, Russia has been looking to import a lot of material from countries like India and China since Western sanctions have hit its economy hard. Reportedly, Russia is looking to import nearly 500 items, and that gives India the scope to export a variety of things to Russia that includes pharmaceutical material, manufactured automobiles, machinery parts, as well as parts for locomotives. And this comes at a time when India's trade deficit with Russia is at an all-time high, with imports from Russia nearly 15 times in value than what India is currently supplying to Russia. So these are some of the things that could be discussed in these trade talks. But India's External Affairs Minister has pointed out that the issue of payment needs to be sorted out first, because Russia right now cannot access the dollar system of trade. So there has to be an agreement in which the two countries can trade in rupee or in ruble. Apart from this, the two countries are also looking to sign an investment deal under which India could likely invest in the far east side of Russia. They're also discussing a maritime corridor between Vladivostok and the Indian port city of Chennai. So a lot of these things are on the cards, and we might be looking at an enhanced trade deal between India and Russia and potentially a multi-billion-dollar investment deal between the two countries as well.
At the same time, Ishan, there have been growing calls for India to abandon its neutrality towards Russia's war in Ukraine. But bilateral commercial ties between these two nations, they have flourished since the Ukraine war. Are these trade negotiations a clear signal, perhaps, that India intends to make no such changes to its neutral stance on the war?
It certainly appears so, because India has said in these talks with Russia, during these trade talks, that India and Russia's ties haven't been impacted by the recent geopolitical tensions across the world. And India has hailed that as a sign of the strength of the India-Russia ties. So the calls for India to alienate Russia to some degree, those calls are not being heeded by India. But analysts say that there is a growing degree of understanding that India cannot alienate a partner of several decades. But India has to, at the end of the day, walk a diplomatic tightrope, and this is very fairly evidenced by the fact that India now is hosting Russia's Deputy Prime Minister, and just last week it was hosting Ukrainian Deputy Foreign Minister Emin Zaporova. So India is looking to play an enhanced role in the global stage, but at the same time, on the world stage, it claims that it is having a neutral position. But analysts say that India will have to play this game very, very smartly, because it does want to have neutral ties with the West as well.
Ishan, thank you for that. Ishan Garg there, reporting for us live from New Delhi.